I really think your 40s can be the decade where you look your best and you feel your best. That's certainly been the case for me, so I'm going to tell you what I've done. Let's get into it. Looking good and feeling good does not mean looking perfect every day. Look at me today. I have almost no makeup on and my eyeliner is getting smudged. Forget trying to claw back to the way you looked when you were 30. Forget all of that. You can definitely be at the top of your game in your 40s. Personally, I think the main targets you need to hit are skincare, fitness, social life, looking after yourself first, and eating well. Let's get into the video. When it comes to makeup, my tactic has been to every 5 years reevaluate what I'm using and try and strip it down a little bit. I just can't wear the heavy makeup that I used to wear in my 30s and have it still look good. It just doesn't suit my face as it once did. So I find that the less I use and the more minimalistic look that I go for, the more I like it, with the exception of lipstick. I think that my lipstick can be as bold as it ever was and it still looks good, but too much foundation, too much mascara, too much eyeliner. I mean, I've had to just readjust everything a little bit. That's a function of my skin aging, my face shape changing, losing a bit of collagen. These are all natural good things. Getting older is good. If you're not getting older, you're dead. I think once you reach your 40s, your skincare is something that if you really invest in and look after, it's going to pay the most dividends. That's certainly been the case for me over the past 8 years that I've been in my 40s. And the basis of all this is sunscreen. Now, I'm not someone who is like, never get any color. I tend to get a bit tanned, even if I try my best to avoid it. But I mean, I never get burned. I never, ever allow myself to get a sunburn anymore. That was not the case, sadly, in my 20s. And in my 40s now, I'm really strict about wearing that sunscreen on a sunny day. So after sunscreen, I have taken the advice of dermatologists, which is that retinoids tend to do a really good job at helping your skin turn over, helping with fine lines, signs of aging. So I use something called Different, which is a 3rd generation retinol product. Has it turned back the hands of time, 20 years? No, that would be unrealistic. I do like what it's doing for my skin. And in your 40s, if you are approaching menopause in this decade, as so many of us are, you might start to have hormonal acne again. So it has helped me with that. I am back into using an LED face mask. The one that I use right now is from Current Body. It's their Series 2 face mask. Have a look for it online if you wish. I do have a code and I'll have a link down below if you're interested. Because if you do go for this, do not pay full price. There is always some sale going on. So code below. I'm still in the initial phases of trying this out. While it's been easy to use, it's 10 minutes that I work into my routine every morning. I haven't seen a huge difference. It's too early to say, but it is comfortable and easy to use. It has made my skin a little bit softer and less flaky though. That's a marked difference between this year where I've been using it like very regularly and last year I was kind of dabbling in the older one that I had, but not being really consistent about it. So consistency helps. In terms of hair care, my hair is definitely far from perfect. I have grays that I don't cover. Like I'm a very minimal person. I don't even dye my hair. But what I've really done is dial in on exactly the shampoo that works for me. I've tried many. I actually have had a miniature career here just reviewing shampoos. That was what I did before I got more into just general reviews. I have just like my one favorite, which is called Kerastase Nutritive Bansatin. This is like a fancy French name. You can get it at Sephora. I'll put a link down below for that as well. That's the only shampoo I use all year long, if you can believe that. I almost never stray from the shampoo because the minute I do, I'm unhappy with the texture of my hair. Conditioner, I can be a little unfaithful when it comes to conditioner. My hair doesn't seem to react to different conditioners for better or for worse. My hair's less oily, so I'm letting my hair go longer between washes because it just helps it be less dry. And I still do use Rogaine. So hair loss in your 40s, that's going to be really common. You don't have to take my advice, but as someone who's been through a lot of hair loss, I use Rogaine daily. That's minoxidil is the generic name for it. Yes, it's something you have to use every day for the rest of my life to maintain my hair regrowth. I'm okay with that. I also use toothpaste. I have to take levothyroxine. These are all things I'm doing daily, adding just Rogaine so that I can maintain to whatever degree is reasonable. My hair is fine by me. For me, that's a fair trade-off. Check with your doctor, check with your dermatologist if you're experiencing hair loss. My suggestion is don't wait. Don't wait for 1 year to pass before you look into it. Don't wait for 2 years to pass. If you're noticing it now, get on top of it now. Probably my #1 tip for looking good and feeling good in your 40s is getting on top of your fitness levels. My fitness was always kind of like, not that great in my 30s. I tried to take classes and I did Pilates and I would exercise 3 days a week, but it wasn't enough. I really had to step it up in my 40s and I'm glad I did. I'm finally fit and it took me 8 long years of dedication to get there and I just chipped away at it. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't need to be like running a marathon the year you turn 40 or anything like that. Just keep hitting the gym, keep exercising, keep working on that cardio. You will get there eventually. Keep lifting weights. Just start somewhere. Another thing that's really going to benefit you if you start learning how to do it now in your 40s is putting yourself first. This is so hard to do. I never did it in my 30s. I would come home after work. I would put my apron on. I wouldn't even change out of my like nylons and skirt from work, and I would just start making dinner. I have an amazing husband, but by contrast, he is very different to me. When he comes home from work, he just gets settled in. He goes upstairs, he changes into his comfortable clothes, and he does whatever he needs to do. And when he's good and ready, he'll come down to do whatever needs to be done or have dinner or whatever. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm starting to take a page out of his book. Like, I prioritize my fitness. That is number one for me. Also because I'm a cancer survivor and my oncologist told me, like, if there's one thing you need to be looking after, it is exercising every day. So on her instruction, basically, and she was not just saying this anecdotally, she was just saying this from her actual studies because her field of expertise and what she publishes papers in is the field of the intersection of exercise, fitness, and breast cancer survival rates. So she was an expert in this particular field. She happened also to be my oncologist because some of you may know I got breast cancer at age 39. And so the early part of my 40s was just trying to survive through cancer. But sorry to take this on a tangent. Ever since then, I've been extremely devoted to my fitness levels. I will do anything to make this work in my day, even if it means just taking a walk. If you don't want to do it, like that's a different thing. Be honest with yourself, but you can find the time. Everybody can. I've known people to get up 5 in the morning to do their exercise. That will never be me, but I do squeeze it in. If I have to squeeze in 3 brisk 10-minute walks to the park near me and back, and that's how I get in my 30 minutes of fitness for the day, I absolutely will do that. And that is sometimes good enough. It doesn't always have to be like grunting, lifting huge weights at the gym. Don't make it so hard. Start somewhere. But the more important lesson here was like, now that you're in your 40s, you need to start looking after yourself first. If you're not looking after your health, if you're not looking after eating well or making that time for yourself, I know it's hard sometimes and it depends on like how old your kids are. Or if you're like a sandwich generation person, looking after parents, looking after young kids, it's not easy to do that. But wherever you can make an effort towards that, that is just the best path. I'm sure you know that. This is not a surprise. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm telling you now, your job will not love you back as much as you love it. Put yourself first. I've had jobs come, I've had jobs go, I've been laid off, I've had contracts end on me. Nothing is more important than putting your own health first. Without your own health, you have nothing. Nothing else matters. You won't be able to work. You won't be able to look after the people you love. You may not live a long time. I don't know what else to say. Prioritize yourself. The other place you're going to find really pays off huge dividends is if you invest in your social life. I will tell you one thing. When you're in your 40s, hard times will come. And I hope that they don't for you. But if they do, it is so vital to have a social network. This is not the time in life to decide you're too busy to go out for lunch with your friends. You're too busy to make that phone call, that text, to reach out to see how someone's doing, to find or discover something entirely new. I joined a fiber arts social club, and it was the best thing I've done in such a long time. I don't think I'm going to be best friends with all of the women there, but it's just nice to be in a social environment because humans are social creatures. Whether you realize that or not, you've been so busy running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you haven't remembered that. The time that you invest in your friendships, well, for me anyway, the dividend was enormous. My friends looked after me so well, and I will never forget them to this day. And that's because they're amazing people, but also because I invested time into caring about them as well. I would have done exactly the same that they have done for me. And I say this not just because this is what you can get out of it if you invest this time, which is certainly a major benefit of it, but because you're going to feel good too. Like, no matter how crappy my day has been, when I go to the fiber arts group and people are like just chatting about other things and I jump into the conversation just a little, I feel so much better at the end of those days than days that I'm just cooped up, working from home, staring at the screen all day. So I think I would be remiss not to talk about eating habits just for a second here as we enter into our 40s and beyond. I've given up dieting. That is not really something that I am interested in doing. I'm from the 90s. I did a hell of a lot of like low carb and restrictive eating. I'm not doing that anymore. One thing that I found that has helped me enormously feel better and look better is really just making sure I'm getting enough fiber every single day. If I can hit my fiber targets, that means eating enough vegetables, eating fruit every day, even though I don't love fruit. I much prefer vegetables. I just feel better, and it kind of crowds out my ability to eat so much not such good food, like low quality, high processed food. I don't think you need to be an absolutist. I don't think you need to cut out junk food from your whole life. Like, you have to enjoy life too, or else what are we doing here, right? But just making that simple change of like making sure half of my plate has vegetables on it and the other half can be whatever it is I feel like eating that I've made for dinner or whatever. In making that simple change of making sure there's always fiber represented at every meal has made a world of difference for me. And I don't want to be too like granular about how to go about this. You need to figure this out for yourself. But I don't think that there are too many doctors or dietitians who would tell you that this is a bad strategy, because if you're eating like a lot of fiber that comes from vegetables, you're eating healthier. So that's kind of my only tip. A word about night eating. If you find that you're really eating a lot at night, just in my own experience, I found that this is because I'm not eating enough fiber during the day. What you don't want to do, at least what has never worked for me, is trying a keto-based diet where you just extremely knock off all the carbs. I think what happens then, well, I know what will happen to me, is that I'll lose weight really rapidly. That is, I guess, great theoretically, but then it takes a real toll on your face, and I think that you get saggy skin and you don't get it back again. At least that has been my experience. Rapid weight loss in your 40s, I don't think is a good idea. So hey, that's just me. Personally, I would not do keto. It's your life. You do what you like. I lived through decades and decades of diet culture. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I'm not willing to do it anymore. The end. Okay, in terms of fashion, I kind of skipped this, even though maybe that is what you were expecting out of this video. Fashion is extremely personal, and I don't always feel it's that helpful to give general advice about fashion. Like, don't wear trends. Most women kind of know what they like to wear in their 40s, and I don't think it's the most helpful piece of advice to say, wear this, don't wear that. But if you're feeling a bit lost, it's probably a situation where you need to invest more time more than anything else. It's not like the perfect jeans or the perfect this or the perfect that. It's more figuring out like what your aesthetic maybe is going to be now that you're in your 40s. That can take some wrapping your head around. But give yourself grace. Like, who cares at the end of the day? I live in Canada. I've got a winter jacket on half of the year. It's really only like the summer and the early fall where I get to like flaunt fashion sense to the entire world out there. I don't have the need really to update my wardrobe constantly. If you do want me to say the specific things that I've loved in my 40s, I have a Barber quilted jacket. I cannot live without that. I think it looks really nice and neat. I have 2 cashmere sweaters. This is one of them. They're really great layering pieces. I have like maybe 2 pairs of jeans. They're a skinnier fit. I don't care if that's not in fashion. That doesn't matter to me. They fit nicely in my boots. That's really my main concern. I have a few knit turtlenecks that are black. I don't have that much clothes, and I'm okay with that. I have like maybe 5 cute outfits that I can rotate through, and that's enough for me anyway. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about, and I never talk about this on my channel, is understanding your family's finances. This is vital. I'm going to give it to you straight. This is hard to hear. I don't think this will happen to you, but it has happened to a lot of women I know, which is that they get divorced in their 40s. Unfortunately, it seems to be a common time for divorce. You do not want to be the person who has no idea what the family income is, what the bills cost, what the mortgage is, what the electricity bill is. I'm not saying you need to know all of these in depth, but if you're not the person looking after this in your family, I suggest you start having a look. You don't need to memorize the bills, but start to familiarize yourself with the family spending habits, budget, and how much things cost. I do believe every woman should have her own banking account that's just hers. And if you don't, maybe that's something to look into. So I'm turning 48. The 40s is kind of coming to a close for me. It's been like the most amazing, difficult decade I could have ever imagined. My life has twisted and turned in so many different ways. I went through cancer treatment and survived it. I started this channel in my 40s. I stopped being an office worker and transitioned to strictly working from home. I do a few different types of jobs. More recently than that, I've gotten really into art as a serious hobby that I would like to pursue on a part-time basis. I think definitely as I head toward my retirement years, I've had to look after my health and my fitness more. So much has changed, but it's all been really positive. It can be positive for you too. It's 40 and better. It's not 40 and older. Hope you enjoyed that. I have so many more videos here. I hope you explore some of them. Love to see you on another one. We'll catch you in the next video.